We like to brag that we are a nation of laws, not of men. So we should be familiar with the law of unintended consequences. Take downtown Augusta in the 1970s. Broad Street merchants were in a panic. For 200 years, they had cornered the market on commerce. They were the market. But by the 1970s, the suburbs were growing, downtown's big old department stores were aging, and talk of shopping malls far outside of downtown was often heard. The problem, the merchants said, was parking. Despite its width, Broad Street could get jammed when everyone decided to come to town to shop. And now that you mentioned it, it was the 1970s and downtown was looking a little old-fashioned. So Augusta did something. Led by State Senator Gene Hawley and others, they brought in internationally known architect I.M. Pei, who began to add his touches all across downtown. He was particularly adept at creating sunken parking decks. The unintended consequence? In building the new sunken parking decks, often called lagoons after summer rainstorms, Pei actually used up spaces for Broad Street's familiar old angle parking. Our newsroom sent out someone to count how many spaces we'd lost. He was a handsome young man, as I recall, and he came back with a number, 768. Needless to say, the merchants weren't happy. They were mad at the mayor, they were mad at I.M. Pei, and they picketed the newspaper because they said our reports on their problems were unfair. But the city leadership, led by Mayor Louis A. Pop Newman, had a plan. A new two-level parking plaza at 9th and Ellis Streets that would offer 288 spaces. They built it so quickly that it opened without permanent guardrails, but open it did in the fall of 1976. And the first day it appeared to be full. Mayor Newman himself was there to welcome the motorists. A few months later, large newspaper photographs showed the plaza essentially deserted. The merchants said it was in the wrong place, not near enough to stores for shoppers and not near enough the businesses for businessmen. And unless you were going to the old H.L. Green's dime store, it wasn't very convenient. One city study said it averaged 20 cars a day. Ultimately, it didn't matter. Within less than a year, 2 new malls opened south and west of town. Downtown shopping became a thing of the past, and the parking deck was pretty much ignored for the next 30 years before the school board reconverted the old Green store into its current headquarters. Mayor Newman, who lived almost to be 100, said the parking plaza was the biggest blot on his otherwise successful 3-term career. Like most consequences, it was unintended.